In January of 1993, William Jefferson Clinton was sworn in as the 42nd President of the United States. He was the first Democrat elected president in 12 years, and in 1996, he became the first Democrat re-elected into office since Franklin D. Roosevelt. The third youngest and first president of the baby boomer generation, Clinton was a Yale Law graduate who served as Arkansas Attorney General and later Governor of Arkansas. As president, Clinton presided over the longest period of peace and economic expansion in American history, signing into law the North American Free Trade Agreement, passing welfare reform, and creating the state children's health insurance program, providing millions of children with health care coverage. In 1998, scandal arose when it became known that Clinton had had an illicit relationship with a White House intern and subsequently perjured himself in front of a grand jury. The perjury brought up impeachment proceedings, but Clinton was acquitted of all charges. In the last 3 years of his presidency, the Congressional Budget Office reported a budget surplus. In spite of the scandal, coming just 2 years before Clinton was to leave office, the president left office with the highest approval rating of any president since the Second World War.
Our democracy must be not only the envy of the world, but the engine of our own renewal. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
The 43rd President of the United States was only the second, after John Quincy Adams, to be the son of another president. George Walker Bush was elected in a close and contested election in 2000. A graduate of Yale and later Harvard Business School, George W. Bush made his living in business with ties to the oil and baseball industries, co-owning the Texas Rangers baseball team. In 1994, Bush won the election to governor of Texas, where he served until his election as president in 2000. Bush signed into law broad tax cuts, in addition to education reform bills like the No Child Left Behind Act, and health care-related bills like Medicare prescription drug benefits for senior citizens, and funding for the AIDS relief program PEPFAR. His first term in office saw one of the greatest tragedies of the 20th century befall the United States on September 11th, 2001.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror.
The hotly debated Iraq War was initially said to be due to Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein's hiding weapons of mass destruction, but no WMDs were ever found. While the quick, decisive, and unifying action post 9/11 resulted in a high approval rating for the president, by the end of his second term, his favor with the American people was a fraction of what it had been. Real estate prices in the United States began to plummet, and financial institutions across the globe with ties to the American real estate industry were thrown into disarray. Banks and other financial institutions required controversial government bailouts just to remain afloat. The recession and the mismanagement of crises at home, like the devastation caused by Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans in 2005, and the Iraq War throughout his time in office, have led scholars to name Bush's administration one of the worst presidencies. On November 4th, 2008, Barack Obama made history as the first African American to ever be elected President of the United States. The following year, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his stance on nuclear non-proliferation and for reaching out in an official capacity to Muslim nations. A community organizer and then civil rights attorney in Chicago, Illinois, Obama served as a state senator for the 13th district in that state and later as a United States Senator for Illinois. Known as a great orator, Obama rose to national attention with his keynote address at the Democratic National Convention in 2004. In 2008, Obama narrowly defeated Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton for the Democratic nomination for president. After Obama won the nomination, then the presidency, he made Clinton his Secretary of State. Obama campaigned on a platform of hope and change, and his early days in office were spent putting into place policy meant to stimulate the economy after what some economists have dubbed the Great Recession. He signed the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act in 2009, and in 2010, the Tax Relief, Unemployment Insurance Reauthorization, and Job Creation Act. Obama was responsible for ending United States involvement in Iraq, while focusing more attention on combating terrorist sects in Afghanistan. On May 2nd, 2011, the SEAL team that Obama had authorized entered a remote compound in Pakistan and killed Osama bin Laden, the man who was head of al-Qaeda and was largely believed to have been the mastermind behind the September 11th, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center in New York and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. In May of 2012, Obama became the first sitting president to publicly and actively support same-sex marriage, with briefs filed to the Supreme Court that argued that the Defense of Marriage Act of 1996 and California's Proposition 8 were unconstitutional, in addition to the repeal of the U.S. military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy in 2010. Barack Obama won re-election in 2012 and is, as of the date of this production, currently the sitting president of the United States. What new challenges will President Obama face in his second term? And after his term in office, who will America choose as their next president?
I know these are difficult times, and I know folks are worried, but I believe we can steer ourselves out of this crisis because I believe in this country. This is the United States of America. This is a nation that's faced down war and depression, great challenges and great threats. And at each and every moment, we have risen to meet these challenges, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans, with resolve and with courage.
100 years from tonight, another American president will stand in this place and report on the State of the Union. He or she will look back now. He or she will look back on a 21st century shaped in so many ways by the decisions we make here and now. So let it be said of us then that we were thinking not only of our time, but of their time. That we reached as high as our ideals. That we put aside our divisions and found a new hour of healing and hopefulness. That we joined together to serve and strengthen the land we love.
Who will rise from politics to power and become the next President of the United States, and arguably leader of the free world. What new challenges, conflicts, and changes will they face? In Part 4, we will examine the history, the present, and the future of the second most powerful office in the United States, the Vice President. Which Vice Presidents have served well, and which have gone on to become presidents themselves? How has selection of the Vice President changed since the formation of the United States in 1776? Join us in Part 4 of our look at the presidents and vice presidents, from politics to power.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.